Hey there, friends. It's a beautiful September 14th in 2022. Just a quick update on what things are going on in my neck of the woods for those just joining us. Math for Wisdom. Now, that's not the name of my channel, that's the name of Andrius's channel. But we overlap. Like, we're not afraid to connect mathematical concepts, even higher math in the case of Andrius. I'm kind of like high school math myself, but we don't mind weaving that in with other concepts that you could say are psychological. So, or you're not worried about having emotion being part of a system. Okay, so we're looking for more comprehensivity where everything weaves together. You don't compartmentalize too much. You don't feel a need to. So that's what I'm thinking about Andrius. He's one of those kind of people, and I'm one of those kind of people. And Wolfgang Pauli, he got immersed in William James and met Carl Jung. I list him, Ouspensky. These are people who embed a math in their writing, but the math may have a direction to it. In other words, it's got philosophical significance of some kind. As opposed to, you could just say, a bare bones game of chess. Does it have to mean anything? Or Wordle, or any of these games, right? I'd say they have mathematical properties. And you can be mad if you lose, or you can be satisfied when you get a proof or something. I'm not saying even the most pure math, there's joy in doing it, I think. That's what people keep coming back for more. So I don't know. We can talk more about that. So another point, the other point, aside from kind of having this discussion with Andrius in Lithuania, there's like a new video of him and I talking, right? Him and me. Okay. In addition to that, okay, and then in my blog, the higher math I'm looking at is vectors again. And I'm talking about the history of vectors. It's like the way a journalist, like a tech writer journalist, might approach the topic. Even though I have kind of an insider view through the Quadrays portal, you could say, I'm not well versed enough to sit down and start writing out some Clifford algebra from bare bones scratch, right? I'm not like that. But I want to study Clifford. He died rather young, and I don't know really much about him. So I'm reading this story, and I'm finding out he too doesn't mind if his vector idea kind of mixes together with psychological connotations and so on, which surprised me. Like, I didn't know anything about Clifford, so to discover the psychological aspects of his writing, that was interesting to me. So I shared that on Math for Wisdom, which is the free list here. Anyone can join, by the way. If you're into higher math and you were willing to introduce yourself, maybe get on camera occasionally with Andrius, it's a role that's not to everyone's liking, I don't think, but it works for me to jump in on this. And so I was just remarking in my most recent post um, my discovery of this side of Clifford algebra and talking about this genre where we do allow ourselves to combine like two halves. I think of thinking. Newton's a good example in that he's very, whatever he was into besides his physics, right? His alchemy and stuff like that, his theology. We always segregate that off, and it's not what we study from Newton. But for him, they were meshed. And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, where as a culture, sometimes we'll just say, okay, here's the math this person did. Let's pull that out, leave that aside over here. And then here's some of their sort of metaphysics over there. Let's cut it in two, let's slice it, right? Because we want to slice it. So my other topic here, you see this email, and I'm posting that to Synergio. Let's pull up Synergio. Is I think really the Synergetics constant as a topic is kind of abstruse, abstract. I think it just took one or two clear explanations for sort of the whole thing to crystallize. Like, I don't think it's that hard, but on the other hand, there's not that many people studying this stuff. What for? Which college is going to pay you to read and teach synergetics, right? So there's just been a stasis, like a time capsule. But we're thawing it out, and it's like the mammoth coming out of the ice now, I think, because we've picked up where Amy left off in 87. There's not much about synergetics constant in that. What does that even mean? What's the synergetics constant? And that's what I'm getting into here, there, and elsewhere. And, maybe I'm barking up the wrong tree, but I think this is where to apply our energy right now. Like, this is what's helping synergetics gain more traction, is this clear explication of the synergetics constant and what it is. And see, here's the thing, it was something Fuller himself was confused about. And up front about being confused about, I'm showing on the screen a paragraph that even now I think has some flaws. Like, by my lights, right, it's like this whole idea of going back and forth between XYZ cubic volume that we all grew up with and understand very well, and this tetrahedra volume, what I call IVM volume, and how you go back and forth between them with just a number, a conversion constant, like from American dollars to Canadian dollars or US dollars, right? Have this value in Canadian dollars, and you can go back and forth, whatever. It depends on the unit, like 1 and 1, what are they? Well, the tetrahedron and the cube, or vice versa. And so, yeah, there's a way to go back and forth, but it takes some thinking about. And does it make sense? And there's other connected threads here. As I say, once you get into the synergetics constant, then it passes you to other topics, such as what is volume 5 in the concentric hierarchy? Where does that go? And what else? It takes you into, well, the answer to that, the E modules and so forth. So in other words, the synergetics constant is kind of a grand central station, or at least a major terminal in this rail system. And I really appreciate Python's allowing me to sort of push the envelope in a kind of easy way just by using higher and higher precision numbers, which, in the days of these books being written at first, Synergetics, 2 volumes, mainly they were using just calculators. And so the number of significant digits was limited to the electronic circuits they had. But now we have, nicer tools. So why not? Why not chisel in a few thousand digits there when we can, right? Just for the heck of it. All right. So those are the things. To summarize, I'm back in Lithuania in terms of in contact with Math for Wisdom, doing video together a little bit, and the synergetics constant. That's a focus if you want to get on the front lines quick in terms of being one of the first to make synergetics more clear to people than has been possible hitherto. I would, if I were you, watch some of the slides that I do. Use my slides if I haven't made myself clear on that topic. They're open source. And I'd love to see what you do with them. So, or other tools, right? Check out Casey House, his Synergetics University. Great art. It's going to help you immerse yourself in this whole fairly small vocabulary. Think of a computer language with not that many keywords. It's kind of stark, primitive in a lot of ways, not too hard, right? And it's embedded in a philosophy that doesn't mind if the repercussions are psychological and philosophical, as I started out by saying. Also, I do, in final news, I do still promote this book, and I show it on the video I did with Andrius. He in Lithuania, me here in Portland. The Inventor of the Future book, Alex's book. There's been a lot of buzz about this, you can imagine. and I've helped contribute to it. I've posted all over the place, so you can seek my views if you wish. Good book, and I'll see you in the next episode.